Claims circulating right now that the Epstein files reveal Ellen DeGeneres as, and I'm quoting this directly from the posts, Hollywood's most prolific that she consumed human flesh. Ellen DeGeneres is named in the Epstein documents, and that part is real. Her name appears in the broader index of over 300 high-profile individuals that show up across the investigative materials. Flight logs, communications, third-party interviews, peripheral records.
And so if I do, I don't want it to go to waste. Who will eat?
A chilling set of revelations and a sudden death are forcing a complete re-examination of one of Hollywood's most controversial timelines. Back in 2022, actress and Hetchy, the high-profile ex-girlfriend of daytime talk show titan Ellen DeGeneres, sat down for a bombshell interview. In it, she issued a horrifying warning to the public, alleging a deeply disturbing scandal involving children and the Hollywood elite. But it is what happened next that has sparked intense speculation. Less than 2 months after making those explosive claims, Hetchy tragically lost her life in a violent, fiery car crash.
Who will eat pizza if I... Jennifer? Yes? Harrison? Yes? Yes? Smart? All right. Too large? What do you think? I'm going to...
Losing their mind.
She sounded so sincere, didn't she?
Very sincere.
Virtually choke on her words. But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia.
Bit of...
Could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But, she was quite friendly with that P.
Time, officials ruled it a tragic accident, but the public remained skeptical. Now, with the high-profile unsealing of the Epstein files, the narrative has taken a massive turn. Investigators and internet sleuths are looking at Hetchy's final warnings and her sudden death through a completely different lens. People are aggressively connecting the dots, and a growing consensus points directly toward her former partner, Ellen DeGeneres, as the very individual Hetchy was trying to warn the world about. Whether this is a series of tragic coincidences or something far more sinister, the pressure on Hollywood's elite is mounting by the hour.
P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she?
Well, this is why I say release the Diddy files.
Yeah,
Release the Diddy files. Come on, Donald Trump, we want to know whose name.
So maybe she's hightailing out of there before all that is thrown at her as well. But what a bunch of hypocrites.
I want to take you back to a time in my life where I tried to convince a couple of times because it was so dark. I thought the only way to make this better, this pain go away, is to end my life. Had any of those attempts happened?
Investigative channels are widening their scope tonight as a darker narrative emerges regarding daytime television icon Ellen DeGeneres, suggesting her sudden departure from the United States may be tied to a much larger federal web. Long before the current fallout, cracks had already begun to form in DeGeneres' public image. In 2020, toxic workplace allegations surfaced, with staff members alleging severe abuse and claiming her trademark "Be Kind" persona was an elaborate front. Industry insiders whispered that she was no different from the rest of Hollywood's heavily scrutinized elite. However, the situation has escalated from allegations of workplace toxicity to far more sinister claims involving the potential exploitation of former child stars who once appeared on her show.
I would have missed the best part of my life.
Talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. How many, did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do this?
Not everybody.
Okay, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then
independent investigators and journalists are now aggressively combing through the recently unsealed Epstein files, claiming to have found chilling parallels. While the names in the documents remain heavily redacted, researchers note that specific dates and statements align uncomfortably with high-profile Hollywood timelines. Sources point to roughly 1,500 flagged email chains categorized under the highest level of disturbing content, including direct communication between Jeffrey Epstein and his victims, alongside messages from redacted senders scouted for recruitment. Crucially, investigative journalists are now attempting to bridge the gap between these redacted documents and the timelines of specific child stars who frequented DeGeneres' platform.
But then it pushes the
What are you pushing into the skin, Sarah?
Sandra?
Carrie, what are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
The timeline takes a dramatic turn in early 2024, when the Department of Justice announced a comprehensive investigation into the Epstein files, promising the imminent release of unredacted emails and an official client list. In what critics call a highly calculated move, DeGeneres abruptly announced she was leaving the United States permanently. Within 3 months, a public figure who spent her entire adult life chasing the media spotlight vanished into a remote United Kingdom village, virtually erasing her social media presence. While mainstream entertainment publications, including The Wrap, report that DeGeneres and her wife, Portia de Rossi, liquidated their multi-million-dollar Montecito estate and fled to rural England purely out of political protest following Donald Trump's landslide election victory, public skepticism remains at an all-time high. Observers are left questioning whether this sudden self-imposed exile is truly a political statement, or a desperate attempt to outrun a mounting federal storm. The investigation into the inner workings of the daytime television landscape has taken an even darker turn, as independent researchers look closely at a series of highly suspicious deaths surrounding Ellen DeGeneres' inner circle. The focus has shifted back to the final days of actress and Hetchy, who was reportedly working on an explosive documentary project titled The Girl in Room 13, often referred to by theorists as a project intended to expose global child trafficking networks. Adding fuel to the speculation, eyewitness footage from the scene of her 2022 car crash appears to show Hetchy suddenly sitting up and struggling on the stretcher as she was being loaded into the ambulance, raising lingering questions about the official timeline of her injuries and subsequent death. The timeline reveals a pattern that observers find impossible to ignore. In May 2022, The Ellen DeGeneres Show was officially cancelled following years of public scrutiny. Just 2 months later, and Hetchy was involved in her fatal car crash. But she was not the only individual close to DeGeneres to die shortly after the show's demise. Stephen Twitch Boss, the beloved DJ and co-executive producer who spent years at DeGeneres' side, tragically died by suicide just months after the series concluded. Reports indicate that close associates had witnessed Twitch looking visibly tense and pressured during interactions with DeGeneres toward the end of the show's run. While official reports confirm that Twitch left behind a note alluding to past challenges, rumors continue to circulate regarding what he may have known about the show's behind-the-scenes dynamics. Public records and media reports from outlets like TMZ have detailed the meticulous steps Twitch took in his final hours, including taking an Uber to a local motel and placing his phone on airplane mode. While mainstream figures like Tyler Perry have spoken out about the devastating and hidden complexities of mental health struggles, internet sleuths and investigative journalists are viewing these events through a far more cynical lens. The question currently gripping the public is whether these tragic losses are a series of isolated personal crises, or a pattern of collateral damage left in the wake of a collapsing Hollywood empire. The digital courtroom of public opinion is expanding its case tonight, shifting focus toward the deeply unsettling thematic overlaps between daytime television content and high-profile criminal investigations. As commentators continue to speculate on the internal burdens carried by individuals within the Ellen DeGeneres Show, internet researchers are increasingly looking at old broadcast footage through a highly critical lens, attempting to map it against verified facts from the Jeffrey Epstein federal files. Historically, it is a matter of public record that Jeffrey Epstein harbored a bizarre and widely reported interest in transhumanism and biotech, which included exploring concepts related to genetic manipulation and stem cell research. In a parallel track online, public scrutiny has recently locked onto a past episode of DeGeneres' show featuring actress Sandra Bullock. During the segment, the two openly discussed undergoing controversial cosmetic facial procedures derived from newborn stem cells, a conversation that was treated as lighthearted banter on set, but is now being viewed by critics as a disturbing attempt to normalize extreme youth-preserving treatments. While mainstream medical reporting notes that the cosmetic treatment in question utilizes legally cloned synthetic replicas rather than direct human tissue, the optics of the segment have fueled massive online traction. For a growing audience of skeptical onlookers, what was once packaged as harmless Hollywood humor is now being re-examined as a potential window into the bizarre and ethically compromised world of the global elite. The investigative focus now turns to the darkest and most harrowing layer of the unsealed Epstein files, as newly emerged documents shed light on the unimaginable trauma endured by the survivors. Independent researchers are carefully analyzing what appear to be deeply personal journals and diaries recovered from Jeffrey Epstein's private island, documents that detail systemic abuse orchestrated by Epstein and his convicted co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. Among the most explosive and deeply disturbing claims within these journals are allegations from an anonymous victim who describes being used as a human incubator, claiming her pregnancies were terminated to harvest stem cells. The raw, heartbreaking prose of the diary entries depicts a chilling atmosphere of isolation and medical coercion, with one specific passage detailing a painful procedure conducted by an unidentified foreign doctor while Maxwell allegedly attempted to shield the victim's eyes. The entry culminates in a harrowing description of a late-term termination, leaving behind a profound sense of loss. Further complicating the file is a sonogram attached to page 20 of the packet, accompanied by the haunting words, "She is gone and she won't be coming back." While legal experts and mainstream journalists emphasize that these specific diary entries, the sonogram, and the exact nature of the medical allegations have not been independently verified or tied to formal criminal charges by the Department of Justice, analysts note that the extreme specificity of the personal details regarding Epstein's operations adds a layer of weight that cannot be easily dismissed. For an increasingly alarmed public, these accounts provide a devastating glimpse into the human cost of the alleged network, keeping the pressure firmly on federal authorities to deliver unredacted truths. The investigative focus into the Jeffrey Epstein network shifts into its most extreme territory yet, as independent researchers and media commentators delve into complex and deeply controversial theories regarding the motivation behind the alleged elite ring. Central to these discussions are long-standing claims by political commentator Alex Jones, who has asserted that Epstein's operations at his New Mexico compound went far beyond sex trafficking. Jones alleges that Epstein, alongside convicted fashion mogul Peter Nygard, ran underground medical facilities designed to harvest blood, bone marrow, and stem cells from late-term pregnancies to provide experimental, anti-aging treatments for the global elite. According to these unverified theories, the genetic material was meticulously selected to prevent biological rejection by the wealthy recipients. Adding fuel to the public debate, independent journalists are pointing to historical, undercover video footage involving other billionaires to demonstrate how the wealthy have openly discussed the commercialization of human reproductive material. In one highly scrutinized archival clip, a billionaire is seen explicitly negotiating with young women, discussing the financial value of human eggs, placenta, and umbilical cords for somatic cell nuclear transfer, SCNT. Packaged in the footage as a pursuit of genetic perfection. Analysts argue that while this footage exists independently of the Epstein case, it highlights a broader, deeply ethically compromised interest among certain billionaires in treating human biology as a recyclable commodity. Furthermore, a deep dive into approximately 15,000 records from the declassified Epstein files confirms that Epstein maintained a highly calculated network of compliant medical professionals. Federal documents and photographic evidence, including a striking image of a medical procedure being performed directly on a dining room table inside Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, reveal that he used elite doctors as a tool of total coercion. The files show that Epstein dictated when the women in his orbit received plastic surgery or gynecological care, weaponized their private medical data, and controlled their access to healthcare as a means of psychological and physical dominance. As the public continues to digest these staggering disclosures, the line between high society influence and unregulated medical exploitation remains the central focus of ongoing investigations. The ongoing classification review of the Department of Justice's Epstein files has revealed further evidence of the financier's extensive medical network, exposing connections to prominent medical figures. Documented email exchanges show Epstein coordinating immediate plastic surgery for an injured associate with Eva Anderson Dubin, founder of the Dubin Breast Center at Mount Sinai. The records detail a Mount Sinai plastic surgeon subsequently performing a 35-stitch procedure directly on the dining room table of Epstein's Manhattan townhouse. Further financial records, including a 2014 invoice from Massachusetts General Hospital, confirm Epstein was actively financing personal genome sequencing and investigating gene editing technologies for personalized longevity studies. As federal authorities continue their oversight, public attention has intensified surrounding Zorro Ranch, the New Mexico estate owned by Epstein until its sale in 2023 to former Texas State Senator Donald Huffines. While recent insurance photographs detail the massive scale of the property, including a firehouse, storage facilities, and extensive corporate offices, unverified online reports and alternative media outlets have alleged that local excavations are underway, driven by highly speculative claims regarding illicit medical procedures on the property. Meanwhile, a public memorial has been established on the outskirts of the estate by advocacy groups supporting survivors of the trafficking network. The digital discourse surrounding Hollywood's connection to the network has concurrently reached a peak of intense speculation. Online theorists have widely circulated visual comparisons alleging that the studio set design of the Ellen DeGeneres show mirrored the architecture and furnishings of the structures on Epstein's private island, pointing to matching backdrops, palm trees, and color schemes. Additionally, alternative media platforms and independent commentators, including The People's Voice, have published extreme, highly controversial theories regarding the final days of Enhechi and the broader contents of the 2026 file releases. These alternative reports allege that coded language within millions of DOJ pages points to ritualistic practices among the global elite. As the public demand for clarity grows, the tension between officially documented federal evidence and highly speculative online narratives continues to define the coverage of this unfolding scandal. Investigative reporting continues to scrutinize the systemic machinery of the Jeffrey Epstein network, as recently reviewed communication logs provide a clinical look at how individuals were brought into his orbit. A newly highlighted email exchange from April 2009 reveals Epstein explicitly inquiring about the age of a prospective associate, receiving confirmation that she was 19, and subsequently ordering her transport to New York. Journalists argue that these logs demonstrate a highly structured, procedural operation designed to traffic women across state lines. Simultaneously, the global narrative has been shaken by tragic news from Western Australia, where authorities and family members have confirmed the passing of Virginia Giuffre at the age of 41. Giuffre, the most prominent and outspoken survivor of the Epstein network, died by suicide at her farm, just weeks after surviving a serious vehicular accident involving a school bus. In her posthumously released memoir, Nobody's Girl, Giuffre detailed the horrific extent of her abuse after being recruited for Mar-a-Lago as a teenager by Ghislaine Maxwell. Her legal battles, including a 2015 lawsuit and her subsequent high-profile accusations against Britain's Prince Andrew, sparked a generational crisis for the British royal family and fundamentally shifted the scope of the federal investigation. While independent commentators continue to debate whether the full truth of the Epstein network has been exposed, public pressure remains focused on the ongoing release of unredacted files. For investigative journalists and advocacy groups, Giuffre's passing marks the loss of a pivotal figure who forced global institutions into the spotlight, ensuring that the demand for absolute transparency will outlive the figures who sought to suppress it.